Why should we care about SIBO? Because it's so common, and that's why we're doing this. So many people don't know about the term, so many doctors, so many patients. A lot of people know about the term IBS, Irritable Bowel Syndrome, but what that is just a collection of symptoms. It's a disorder that's defined and diagnosed by its symptoms, which are the same as SIBO.
When you have a symptom like SIBO, you've been diagnosed with SIBO, it's kind of like you've fallen over a waterfall, and you've crashed into the pond below, right? Yeah. And you swim up to the surface, think, oh God, I think I'm alive. And you spit out the water, and you're trying to stay afloat in this pond of SIBO.
And now we know everything's covered in bacteria. If you look at your blood, it used to be 25 years ago, if a doctor found a bacteria in your blood, they would freak out that you were having blood poisoning, right? Now, as it turns out, we've got over 1,000 species, 1,000 cells of bacteria for every milliliter of blood that we have in our body.
But the water is really turbulent because the waterfall keeps falling into the pond, so the water is really turbulent. You're still living the lifestyle that created the SIBO.
People don't understand SIBO. Gastroenterologists don't understand SIBO. People think that it's just a gut infection.
So when you graduate from a medical school, you're not taught about nutrition, you're not taught about microbiome, you're not taught about holistic health.
It's a turbulent pond that you're in. And everyone wants the life jacket. Everyone wants the life jacket so they can stay afloat and not drown, and that's really important.
So often, right, we get diagnosed with SIBO, often after a long journey of having IBS symptoms, and we're like, yes, that's it. That must be it. And oftentimes it is, but maybe it's only a part of it, right? Maybe it's only 50% of your symptoms, but the rest are due to something else, and that really needs to be addressed.
So we want the treatments for, what do you do for SIBO? We want the treatments for SIBO. We want the life jacket, and those with the least side effects possible or better, right?
Bacterial overgrowth, SIBO, is one of the causes of IBS, but it's not the only cause.
This is always a question that people ask. Is it SIBO or is it IBS? And the answer is it's both.
But once you get a life jacket to where you're somewhat stable, you don't stay in the pond. You have to swim over to the side of the pond, get out of the water, walk up the hill, walk back upstream to figure out what the heck fell in the river that carried you downstream, and eventually you fell into the pond of SIBO or irritable bowel syndrome.
Could be medications that we've been prescribed or medications that we're taking over the counter. It could be an overgrowth of bacteria, so SIBO and leaky gut. Overgrowth of fungus, so CFO with an F, fungal overgrowth or yeast.
So it's the diversity of what's happened to us that determines what the diseases or imbalances are that we manifest with. So you have to think about the diversity. You have to think about what's happening in my life.
As you have the right players in the gut, what happens is they start to mediate. It's like having a lot of good neighbors, and then you have like one, a couple bad kids. The neighbors, there's neighborhood watch, and they're all just kind of like looking out for each other, and they're like, you kids can't do that here. Whereas when the neighborhood falls apart, then it's like spray paint on the walls.
People don't understand. Well, how could I have psoriasis, right, in this elbow area from the gut, right? It's because those cells that are getting inflamed in your gut are talking to the rest of your body. So that's why it all really begins in your gut.
And so all these different kind of autoimmune conditions can happen as a result of intestinal permeability, which is just a fancy term we see in the literature for leaky gut. So that circles right back to your original question of why it's so important to keep the gut healthy, because it just opens this Pandora's box of all these different conditions, especially whatever you're genetically predisposed to.